You're on.
Good afternoon, VV Nation. Happy Friday. Look, I even got the lights off. Let me turn these on. You can see me better here. Oh, just got done recording a great video for tonight's 6 p.m. video. So if you're a day trader of options, you definitely might want to check that out. Go over a couple different things in tonight's video. Do market timing, as obviously there's been some developments this week. All right, the alert should be hitting here in just a moment. I see the viewership making its way up there. There goes the alert right there. The DEW down, question mark. If you can hear me, if you can see me, just put a VV in the comment section appropriately here. We got Joey's off today. I think he went to the beach, if I'm not mistaken. We've got Clay in the background today. Francisco, market down in September every year. This is the same people going to school. Well, the July highs were in. We've been talking about that for about the last month now. And obviously, as soon as those came in, we see the market starting to roll over. So let's go ahead and just jump in here. Let's take a look. The one thing I definitely want to look at right now is going to be the DEW. If we click on that here, we will notice with the price action of VectorVest composite pulling back today, we're still in an up signal, but right now, never mind. Thought I could add the DEW layout here, but I guess I can't. All right, but yeah, price action is now below the 30-day weighted moving average. DPO just made its way into negative territory. And it doesn't look like the market's going to be able to recover from that in time from the close today. So yes, this afternoon, as long as that DPO remains negative, as long as price action remains below that 30-day weighted moving average, we will have a DEW signal this afternoon. Again, it's not confirmed, but unless there's just a huge rally, to finish out the day, it does look like we might be getting that down signal. So we shall see. I do see a lower wick here. I do see some buying pressure coming in, and honestly, I'm thinking that's just from the swing high here, from the sell-off. So we'll see what kind of confirmation we get come Monday. But I do see a nice grab on the support level here from the swing high back on June 11th with that bottom wick. I tipped my toe into dog and TWM this morning. Okay, Troy. I wish you would have watched the video last night. But I said, maybe wait for a little bit more confirmation, more details this morning, but mostly just because of this little support here that we're bouncing off of right now. But again, not a bad idea. Just, at least start tipping your toes. I did a video, 2 Fridays ago talking about, when to hedge. I essentially said, have your head on a swivel. Looks like we might be getting to that point here very soon. It looks like that came to fruition. That video came actually out July 11th here, which would have been right around here. Not too bad. Is Glenn buying Lobo? I'm not sure. I don't know if Glenn's buying anything right now. I'd be surprised if he wasn't, trying to do a little trading, keep himself occupied. I would. I'd probably go stir crazy and want to do that for my phone or laptop if I had to spend, time at a medical facility. All right. I scroll down here. Let's look at the color guard. Oof. Yeah, we're getting confirmation of, downside action, right? We've got a lot of red lights. I mean, they're dominating the color guard over the last 3 trading sessions here. Ryan, is there any updates on Glenn? Do you know how I can send him flowers? Alfreda, I have to ask as far as, giving out address information like that. Let me message him. Let me message his wife. See what happens. All right. I'm not going to guarantee anything, but if they say it's okay, I can pass along that information. I'm sure that would be greatly appreciated. Otherwise, we do have the GoFundMe account that VectorVest has worked with his family and his wife, Janet. U12 Alfreda Mathis, contact his wife. Yes. And she's actually been really good about getting on social media, because I know she kind of told everyone not to message him directly on social media just because he's trying to get his rest. And obviously a bunch of people message you. You're probably not going to get much rest. So that's Janet Tompkins. I already know she's in the VV Nation, the Facebook group. She's a member there. So, yeah, you can always reach her out on Facebook. Otherwise, I can ask her over the weekend. I'll text. I have Glenn's number. I just don't want to bother him. Maybe just ask him for his wife's number. Send him something short. But again, yeah, if you got his contact information, just reach out. As long as you're okay with giving out the address, I don't see that being a problem at all. And again, I can't tell you, guys and gals, how much we appreciate just the overwhelming amount of love and support VV Nation has really shown to Glenn. So that even touches me quite a bit. All right, getting back to the market. I can only be so sad so long. We've got the advances declines here. 65% on the declines. That not looking good for the bulls, right? Now, the primary wave has been down for a couple days. That's kind of our early warning signal. You see it has been down. It's a couple days ago. And I said, I wouldn't be surprised if we got that last week just because of all the economic data, huge earnings this week, some volatility. But obviously the market, the earnings was one thing, but I think what's really got the market right now is the interest rates, right? I mean, they're pretty split. And I know you've probably seen the news about the dissents. The Federal Reserve's kind of split on interest rate cuts, but it looks like even Jerome Powell didn't seem too optimistic of even a September hike, right? What do you think of buying Palantir and AMD on the dip today to hold over the weekend? They both seem to be on track to rise into earnings. This tariff stuff seems to settle a day or two later. Yeah, the tariffs too. John, last night I did a video on AMD. I said, look out for the retest on the ascending channel. You'll notice it's been an ascending channel for the last couple months. It retested like on cue today. I see a big bottom wick, so as long as we can get a close, or depending on how aggressive you are buying right before earnings, that's obviously aggressive. But I do like the bottom wick. I do see the support at the top end of that channel, right? Fernando says, "Where's Glenn at?" Fernando, not sure when's the last time we watched a video. We've made quite a few announcements, but he had a stroke back in June. Right now, he is in a rehabilitation center, just working on his strength. If you want to help support anyway, because I know his wife is pretty much doing everything right now, balancing the home, the family, and she's got to work too. So if you want to help, there's a GoFundMe account. Just go to VectorVest.com/Glenn. Pretty straightforward. Just VectorVest.com/Glenn. So again, Glenn is definitely in our prayers. Thank you for that, Newton. Thank you. But we'll have to take a look at the chart on Palantir. I haven't looked at it in the last few days. But AMD, honestly, with the retest of this channel here, I see that as a buying opportunity. But it's aggressive, and it's got to be well disciplined, right? I mean, you're doing it right before earnings. I don't know how large of an account you have. But if you have the ability to buy 100 shares, maybe put some kind of option strategy with it, some kind of insurance. Not a bad idea as well if that's something that you're considering. Or if you just want to play options on it, it's a lot less money you have to put down, right? Essentially. All right. So as of right now, the DEW is up, but it looks like with today's information, it will be most likely be down by the end of the day. The confirmed call is also still up. We got the primary wave, down Tuesday? So that's 1 week of downward movement. So if next week, if the market doesn't get its act together, we could get a confirmed down call as early as next week. That's a very real possibility. We've been talking about these July highs. I've been telling you not to get too greedy. The market has been on a tear lately. I mean, all the stocks we look at, every stock you give me, I mean, not everyone, but most of them are up, like 20, 30, 40. Even some of them are, you got bags already. Protect those profits, right? The market's going to present other opportunities in the future. Get your profits so that way you got some capital to be able to execute, some strategies. The next time the MTI is low, right, and we see some market timing signals giving us some optimism of bottom fishing or swing trading, things of that nature. Otherwise, if you are a longer term investor, yeah, you're probably going to give your stocks a little bit more wiggle room just before, going out. A DW down, the primary wave down may not phase some of your long-term positions. So just, keep that in mind. John, always consult the chart and perhaps no buy on Friday. Yeah, with all the news over the weekend, it's just risky. And right now, I forgot who was it. Sorry, let me scroll up here real quick. Oh, John Q. Duh. John, the only thing I'm got concerned for me right now with AMD and NVIDIA is this whole thing with China. I don't know if you saw the investigation right now they're doing on NVIDIA chips about the tracking. And would you be surprised if the U.S. Department of Defense put some back doors at NVIDIA chips and sold them to China? I wouldn't be surprised. So yeah, I can see why NVIDIA is concerned for that. And if they do find it, I'm not saying they will, but if they do find some kind of backdoor or something that shouldn't be there, that China doesn't like, well, that means China's probably going to start locking down and buying a lot of chips, right? Yeah, Paul P says no surprise at all, right? If I was China and selling us chips, I'd probably, especially since it kind of looks like we're not necessarily the best of allies right now. Yeah, I'd probably put some backdoors too in the chips, right? Just, it's just logically thinking. But yeah, my biggest thing is if they find some backdoors, China says, nope, we're not taking none of these chips. That's billions of dollars that was taken off the table, put back on the table potentially, and now taken back off potentially, right? So it's, I think, AMD was like $4 billion loss. NVIDIA, who knows, in the billions as well. So it's a good amount of money. I mean, this is the largest buyer, largest market for semiconductors outside the United States is China. So just, again, be careful. That's my number one concern. Well, that and then interest rate cuts, right? If they would have got an more of a potential for September, typically interest rate cuts work better for growth stocks, right? AMD, NVIDIA. Well, NVIDIA is still a growth stock. Even though it's the biggest stock out there, it's still growing, right? But even if you're holding another growth stock, whether it's like quantum or AI, things like that, these stocks would get excited from interest rate cut, especially since there's not, we didn't get the recession data. Unemployment was revised today. I don't know if you guys saw that number. I don't have the exact numbers, but they were lower than expected. So that does give us a little more ammunition for the interest rate cut. And I get the purpose of the interest rate cut. And I see why, Trump administration wants to refinance the debt and save, a ton of money. I get that. But is saving some money on the U.S. debt, it's a drop in the bucket, to be honest, worth the potential or the risk of inflation coming back, right? Me personally, I don't think it is. I don't think it is. But, again, that's not my job. That's the Federal Reserve. All right, let's take a look at some of these intraday charts here. I'm kind of curious to see where we get some. Oh, look at that. Nice support there, right? That's tonight's video. I do go over some contras. And every single one, I say we want to get above today's high, current high, before we're getting in. Just because, look, this one, finding a right at level support, right? Entered that zone, right? Not saying it can't go up a little bit more, but just be careful if you're getting into some of these right now. That's the Dow Jones. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ here. NASDAQ just broke the 20-day. Actually, looks like it's trying to find a level of support at the 20-day right now. No real level of support inside. The next level is quite a ways down, to be honest. But right now, it looks like it's trying to hold on that 20-day EMA. We see the 3 and 8 just crossed over in a bearish manner. So, again, we're showing those early warning signs. Let's see here. Let's go the VectorVest composite. And you can see the support from the prior swing high. The VectorVest composite shows it, or the graph there shows that support level, and we're seeing that bounce. So again, just be careful. John Q. John says, I agree about the China risk, but China is on the back burner at moment compared to getting other tariff deals done first. To eventually put more pressure on China tariff C. Well, look at it this way. If China realizes, hey, our computer chips that they want so bad have back doors, that's probably not good for them in the long term. They know that. They still need our rare earths, right? So that makes our computer chips, in my opinion, a little bit less desirable to have because you do have the risk of some kind of defense applications in these chips. I don't know. Again, the administration, I heard the commentary. They thought that meeting was going to be an hour, one and done. I think the China problem is a lot more complicated than what most people think, and everyone thinks that we've just got a clear upper hand there. And I think we have an upper hand, but I don't think it's as clear as many people think. And a lot of it has to do with the rare earths and other supply chains. I mean, until we restructure a ton of supply chains across about every industry, guess what? We're going to still need China a little bit, especially when it comes to the raw materials. All right, let's get out of here. Let's go look at some contras actually now. We're talking about them. Let's see here. My premium watch list. Index ETFs. Screener. All right. Bearish ETFs. There we are. All right. First up, we got ProShares short in natural gas. I know I've seen some, some natural gas in the headlines here. Had a big tear. Just be careful there. We got bearish BA. So this is BOED. It's actually up today, up 0.5%. That's not a bad ETF to think about. A bearish Boeing ETF. Obviously, we know all the news about Boeing. We've got VIXI, ProShares, Ultra Shorts, Europe at the top of the list here. You can see Europe's. So it's not just the U.S. market, but looks like other markets around the world are feeling some of the pain here. You can see the moving averages just crossing over in a bullish manner. Still pretty early in the trade setup. Here is shorting, ultra short real estate. Also starting to tick up quite a bit. I know we've seen some cracks in the real estate market. And just between me and some other people I know, we're looking at property and real estate and stuff, and it's been on the pullback. And we're here in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's a pretty hot, usually one of the top 10 of hottest housing markets in America. Given depending on the year, and our housing prices have pulled back. Right? How about UAMY? I still like UAMY as an investment. The trade is over. It's done. As far as the swing trade, if you're still in it, that swing trade is over. But as far as investment, I still like it a lot. Again, the whole point, and it's not even just the Trump administration, but both sides. Everyone's waking up that we're too reliant on critical minerals, rare earths, things of that nature. China, I mean, I think last time I looked, it was like 80% of the mining is in China for these rare earths. I think it was like 90% of the refining. So, even other countries like Australia may have the materials, or Canada, but they don't have the equipment to, refine and process, some of these magnets and all this other crazy stuff they got. And it will take years for us to build that. UAMY, USAR, MP, guess what? The government, the military, the Department of Defense, they are working with them hands over fist to expand operation. I know UMAY was opening up another antimony smelter, pretty much double production. So again, I still think those, when those stocks are down, again, when no one's talking about rare earths, just like I say Bitcoin, when no one's talking about Bitcoin, is usually the time when you start looking at the chart, right? Because by the time everyone starts talking about it, the move has already been made. All right. But again, here's ultra short real estate. So we're seeing weakness in quite a few things here. Here is a bearish real estate ETF also on the rise, DVR. I do like that DVR. Here's MSTZ. This is MSTR daily starting to tick up a little bit. That's going to be on the Bitcoin. But MSTR MicroStrategy, that's a lot more volatile than Bitcoin. So if you're holding that, just know it's going to be volatile. This one's really flat, not enough volume here. SEK, that's in a channel. Japan starting to tick up as well. This is financial bear. Big gap up today. But we do have a wick looking at a resistance level right now. I see an upper wick right at that resistance level. Okay, so this is the Dow as well. Again, the Dow was right at level of support, remember? And you see how this is now becoming at resistance, right? Because if the bearish, right, the other side of the spectrum, we're now approaching that level of support. That's why I'm not surprised to see a bottom wick there, bottom wick. I was hoping SQQ would be on this list. Here we got drip, bearish on oil. Ooh, nice breakout to the upside. This might be a fresh move to get bearish on oil in general. You see that breakout, full body candlestick. I just want to get above that resistance zone as long as I can get some price action. And again, it's Friday, so I wouldn't rush to jump in the trade. But if you get confirmation Monday, maybe shorten with this drip. This is S&P oil and gas, 2 times bearish here. And they had 2 big earnings today. Was it Chevron, Exxon? Was it those two? I think it was those two, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, oil looks like it might be setting up here. This is energy as well. Energy, not so much. Energy pulled back. Oil, I'm getting confirmation. But this one here, just energy in general, no. Thoughts on SMCI? My thoughts are going to be the same across the board on any stock right now. Have a plan in place in case the market pulls back, right? Just, again, SMCI, another stock that has, I don't know where you bought it at, but has gone up astronomically. It was in the 20s not too long ago. Was it now like 60 or something? We'll have to take a look at it. I'm curious. But I said look at SMCI from the breakout. That was, what, about a week or two ago? So right now, just because the NIMBYs have helped create our current problem. I'm not sure what a NIMBY is. I don't know if I want to know. I'm at work right now. I can't get political. But we'll see. All right. We've got ultra short here. Let's get out of these contra ETFs. When the market pulls back, do you look at gold stocks? Let's throw in some gold stock. I wouldn't be surprised if gold ticked up a little bit. Actually, I can look at it right now. Let's see here. Yeah, it's up 1.5% today at 3.397. Let's see, 1 month. It's higher than it was a month ago. Again, I said it's not necessarily the market pulling back, Fox. I've talked about this for a while. I said as we get closer to some of these tariff deadlines, and gold was pulling back, and if you look at like our gold sector or our gold mining industry chart, it was approaching a trend line, right? It's usually a good time to get in as long as you're disciplined. If it breaks it, hey, you're out of it. It is what it is. I'm thinking more of the tariff situation rather than just the market pulling back. Just my opinion personally. I'm glad I bought SPY puts. They helped me out. They helped me, but not a full hedge. Jim Penna would advise this all the time to hedge. Jim definitely hedges quite a bit, right? HMY shot up this morning. Yeah, again, because as we get close to these tariffs, right? That was the playbook at the beginning of the year, so I didn't try to overthink it. I just figured we got closer to the tariffs as more deals came in. Gold might move. Is it going to have as big as a move as it did earlier this year? I don't think so, personally, this next rally. But, again, we don't know all the details of the tariffs, right? We still don't even know the China deal. So just keep that out there. HMY shot up this morning. What do you think about Joby? Actually, let's go ahead and get into some stocks here. Don't start typing them in yet. I got to create the watch list. So it'll be like 50 stocks before I even get over here. Let's see here. Watch list, my watch list. We'll do new. All right, now I've got stocks here. I'm going to put in the HMY because I'm curious about the gold myself. And I'll put in the Joby. Go ahead and give me your stock symbols. Joby Aviation. Yes, R.I.P. Jim, man. Jim was an awesome guy. He was just all around a stand-up guy. And I learned a lot from him, I'll be honest. I will say, I was in a very fortunate position to work here with individuals at VectorVest because I got to need more likes. ALAM. There we go. I got to learn from them. Jim Penna, Glenn, Steve Chappell, Todd, even. Is here Vive. Oh, I might have to scroll up here. All right, KGC. Kinross Gold, okay. ASPN. Oh, wait, no, not that. ASPN. NVO. Novo Nordisk. Vive. BTU. SMCI. APLD. NEO. AMDL. All right. Let's see here. Hood. As soon as this row fills up, that'll be it. Hood. All right. We got Palantir. Yeah, definitely great mentorship here. Great mentorship. All right, there's a couple more. ISC. We'll get these last few, and that'll be it. AM, TM. Oh man, y'all gonna work me to death today. How many stocks we got here? Y'all need to start selling stocks. I'm just kidding. Don't listen to that. I got a lot of stocks here. Life is precious, no doubt. Hey, Fernando, that's probably the best comment in the comment section. Let me just go ahead and there we go. We're gonna pin that one. Life is precious, no doubt. All right, Micron. All right, and then we'll finish with Micron. Actually, let's put defense, because I know a lot of people are still holding defense here, and I'm gonna put maybe GLD. See what gold shares are doing. That's it. Let's rock and roll. Create watch list. We'll call it AUG1. Man, it's hard to believe it's August. I gotta get the kids ready to go back to school. All right. Ooh, that's a lot of stocks coming on Friday. Y'all trying to work me to death on a Friday. I thought y'all liked me. Just messing. All right, top of the list here. Most of these look good. Let's see what the problem childs are. Neo, below 1. Not surprised there. We got GLD, Spider, Gold Share. All right, let's take a look here. IESC. IESC still rocking and rolling. It's up today. So, if this is just stock in your portfolio and it's undervalued, and I see the bottom wick there from today as well, I'd probably be a little bit more concerned about other stocks in your portfolio right now. I'm just going to say that. I mean, this is good quality stock. So if you're, just trading it, this is a swing trade for you. Hey, you got to ask yourself, when are you going to be happy enough, right? But right now, it's still rocking and rolling above the 20-day moving average here. So again, and it's undervalued. 468 right now is trading at 354. So you got an undervalued stock. Great, all the fundamentals here: RS, RV, strong ratings, earnings per share, $14 per share. This is a good stock. I wouldn't be in a rush to sell it whatsoever. Let me just look in here, because I see the pivot from the prior swing, just like the VectorVest composite, how it took a dip, got a bottom wick right at the prior swing high, right? So just like the VectorVest composite, just like this stock, if price action breaks below this, I'd be getting a little bit more defensive, right? But again, I don't know where your top end objective is, like what your profit target is, right? Most people think of a loss, a stop loss. Hey, I'll put a 10% stop loss in. Cool. What's your profit target, right? If you've already hit your profit target, or if you're really close to your profit target, you got to ask yourself, is, holding right now worth it, right? With some of the bearish sentiment that we're seeing in the market. But this stock, this one doesn't look too concerned. It doesn't even have a hold rating right now. It's still got a strong buy, and it's up today. Here's Astera Labs, gap down, bottom wick, right in this consolidation zone here. And it's coming back up. So it gapped down and went back up just to fill the gap. So, again, let me scroll down here. Clear that. IESC cup and handle test. Sorry, I was on the wrong. Let's see here. 1 year. Yeah, no, the cup is already there. The handle's already there. Yeah, we're in it. You can measure the bottom of the cup to the top of the cup, and draw that line and put it up. But yeah, we're probably getting pretty close to my profit target for this cup and handle formation. The momentum behind the downtrend has slowed. Again, that's why I said don't rush into these contra ETFs today. If you got into them, a week ago or whatever, because I already, tonight's video, all the contra ETFs that I spoke of were in positive territory compared to when I did the video 2 weeks ago. But again, with the VectorVest composite, right at that level of support here, if you're going to tiptoe, hey, I get it, but I want to go all in and start adjusting your portfolio, like crazy right now. Make small adjustments, as, develop, I hate to sound like Jerome Powell, but being data dependent, right? You see a couple negative data points, maybe make a couple moves that agree with that, right? Next day, you see a couple more negative data points, maybe make a couple more moves, right, that agree with that. And then say maybe the next day, the market goes up, right? Go with the market, right? But right now, yeah, I did see the sell-off, but, we hit that nice level of support, so we'll see. Here's Astera Labs again, gap down, coming right back up today. Hood, and that seems to be the trend here. Look at that. Down, oof, up, right? Coming right back. That's why I'm curious if this DEW does go to a down. Because this, a lot of people might just be buying the dip right now. But if that DEW stays, into next week, I would get back more on the defensive side. I got a SPY put spread. EX expires next Friday. Small play as insurance. Hey, there you go. A little insurance here and there, never a bad idea. But Hood, again, just like these other stocks, I found its, first level support and right back up. What's 20% down, Akshaya? What's 20% down? Here's KGC, Kinross Gold. Look, pretty sideways. It gapped up, gave it away. Again, gold's not really showing me the momentum I'd like to see right now. We do see the earnings per share on the rise as well over the last few months. This is just going to be a great stock in general. If we... let me add value here. Show value. There we go. Look at that. Undervalued. And it looks like it's wanting to break up out of this consolidation. I'm going to rely on the DEW big time. And again, it depends, because everyone watching this has got different, goals, different plans. Some are swing traders. Some are long-term investors, whatever it may be. And I've been saying, if your whole point was to do some bottom fishing off the tariff turmoil, now we're at market highs. I'm talking about this 2 weeks. I'm more concerned about protecting those profits because I've seen the stocks you give me. We've had some big winners here, and I don't want you guys to, give up all these, profits that you got in a very short amount of time. Trust me, the MTI at some point will go back down to 0.6. We'll have some more bottom fishing opportunities. I've been here, since 2014. This usually happens a couple times a year. It's the best time to trade, right? We won't crash like April, maybe half of that, or just my intuition. As of right now, Fernando, I don't see any kind of crash. I just see a healthy pullback, right? I think the China deal could potentially, push that into more correction territory, make it a steeper pullback. So yeah, I'm not thinking 20%. I mean, if it happens, it happens. But that's why I want to get defensive, start taking profits because it's a guessing game. But all I know is the MTI is pulling back. Right? It was at 1.5. Now I think it's like right at 1. Well, when historically does the MTI like to find a low? Around 0.6, right? That's usually, not necessarily saying that's spot on, but usually it does. And that's telling me that during this pullback, that the MTI still has some downside potential, right? A lot of it, right? We're only about halfway through this little pullback, according to the MTI, if we don't catch this level of support. So you guys got to ask yourself, is the other half of that, going down to 0.6 worth it, right? What about higher inflation, no growth, someone has to pay for dumb tariffs? Actually, I am not gonna get political, but yeah, inflation's not good. Inflation, we'll see what happens. Employment numbers and inflation will be the numbers to watch. Tariffs should start to play into this quarter if they are going to. Well, a lot of these tariffs are being enacted, before it took, by the time the products got over here, maybe like 4 to 6 weeks, depending on which country it came from. So if we're just now starting, because the thing about the deadline was today, probably won't really see that till September's inflation report, maybe October's inflation report, inflation coming back in, right? But yeah, again, there are more concerns than there is optimism, right? The optimism was an interest rate cut. We didn't get that. So, again, just be careful. Here is SMCI. This is the breakout I was talking about. The consolidation broke out a couple weeks ago. Nice retest. This was the trade here. Retest. And then we had 2 updates that have been your follow through on the most recent getting in that position. But look, SMCI, just from a standard investment perspective here, lower left on both value and price to upper right. But the earnings is falling, right? Earnings per share is falling. Price action pulling back. I do, again, look, prior found a nice level of support on this candlestick here. Bro, 39% on the Swiss. What's up with that? What do you mean 39%? Did they talk smack to the admin? What do you mean 39%, Fernando? What do you mean by that? Just curious. All right. Let's scroll through these here. We got a couple more. But yeah, Supermicro, let's go to 6 months actually. Yeah, still looks good there. Still looks so we got a little bit of a let's see, go 3 months here. See the value. I still like Google. We still have a little bit of buffer zone before the 20-day EMA, so I'm still going to be bullish on it overall. But none of these stocks I'm going to say go buy today, or probably not even Monday go buy. You know, if you want to buy the dip, hey, just make sure you are disciplined, right? Because if the market starts dipping and you don't have a stop in place, well, guess what? Oh, that's the tariff rate on Swiss? Oh, man, chocolate's going to go up like crazy. They got the good chocolate. Well, now, I don't know. Have you guys had the Dubai chocolate? Ooh, it's so good with the pistachio layer. Oh, my God. My girlfriend brought me back some real deal Dubai chocolate from Mexico last week. And, man, that was worth every bit of $20 for a chocolate bar. It was massive, and it was delicious. I thought that was Canada getting smacked with 39%. They're 35. Either way, they're 30s, right? So you got to think, you know, we were hearing a lot bigger numbers at the beginning of this tariff situation, you know, 50, 60, 100, 200%, you know, crazy numbers. But now we're hearing more reasonable numbers. You know, what the baseline is 10, 15%. Some countries, you know, maybe 20, 30, 40%. You know, do I think a 35%, you know, tariff on the Switzerland is going to disrupt the U.S. market or the U.S. stock market? No, not that country. I don't think the Swiss has, you know, a big enough pool when it comes to the U.S. market. Got to try Unreal Candy, right? Unreal? That's the name of it? Let me write that one down. I'm a sucker for sweets. I'm definitely a sucker for sweets. Unreal. All right, I wrote that one down. I might have to try that. My Charmin toilet paper went up because of tariffs. Oh, God. And again, we talked about this last time. If the tariffs are coming in, you better do your shopping now, right? Because things are going to maybe get a little more expensive. You know, if 10, 15%, probably at the end of the day, probably not even going to feel it. But the ones 20, 30, 40%, you might feel a little bit. Like the impossible meat. Oh, man. I guarantee those meetings went bad. Yeah, I did see beef has gone up. And I know China and South America are getting a lot closer economically since this whole tariff situation, especially Brazil. Brazil and China have seen a lot of trade deals amongst those two, beef being one of them. Rolex and chocolates. Yeah, well, that Rolex might just be worth a little bit more now, Rick. Hey, maybe that's a good investment. Maybe we should buy Rolexes before the 35% tariff comes into play. That might not be a bad idea at all. I have exercise, believe me. I'm glad I got a lot of fitness nuts in here, right? But Google, again, I like Google overall. This is definitely a great investment perspective. You know, if you're a swing trader, you know, it's still in the upswing right now. I'd probably be a little bit more defensive of swing trading as far as an investment. Hey, and honestly, the retest here I'm looking at be right in that level there. It looks about 185, somewhere in there. Oh yeah, let me run out and buy a Rolex before those tariffs hit. The pressure is real, right? That's what I don't think, you know, Switzerland's not going to affect the U.S. market, right? But, you know, let's be honest. Canada, Mexico, EU, Japan, China. Those are the big deals, right? India, you know, those are going to be the big deals, right? Those are going to be the ones that really, you know, can move markets, can move industries, things of that nature. They are good investments. Rolexes. Hey, if you got some old school Rolexes now, they'd be worth a lot. Lidgate Farms is U.S. chocolate company. They grew their plants in Kauai. Oh, out in Hawaii? Nice. Eating a cupcake, then go walk 10 miles. Yeah. Go have fun with that, right? All right, we got Google. Google looks good. AMDL, AMD. I can't really draw it on here, but this is AMDL. AMD, there's an ascending channel. If you put it on VectorVest chart, whatever, look, 3-6 months, this isn't going to look too much there. We connect these highs, connect the lows, and just regular AMD, not AMDL. You'll see we were retesting the top end of the channel. That's what I said last night. I said that last night. I said what I want to see happen is it retest the top end of this channel before earnings, right? AMD's needs a little breather before getting earnings. Yeah, even if they have a spectacular earnings call and give good guidance, the stock is rocketed up already. And it's so parabolic, actually broke above that descending channel. So I think the breather is healthy. If you want to buy the dip, again, as long as it holds support at the top end of that channel, I would be a buyer of it. Oh, and tonight as well, I did do 2 day trades with options on AMD. One yesterday, which I messed up, just busy at work, but I even talk about that. Today was a home run. Made up for yesterday's mistake and made a couple extra $100 on top. So if you want to see what kind of just chart patterns, what was going through my mind when I placed the trades at the open, because I'm normally a open or shortly after open options day trader, which is probably the most volatile, most dangerous, most aggressive way to do it. But I've been doing it for a while, so just if you do it and you're not having any success, any luck, definitely check out tonight's video. There's 2 examples there. The first one did work. Just again, I was at work. I was editing last night's video and kind of forgot about it. All right, AMDL still looks good. We got earnings next week. Harmony Gold, it's still in the channel. The moving average is still bearish. Hey, if you want to tiptoe into some gold right now, it is what it is. I'm not going to really be for or against it right now. By this time, it's still in a channel, and the moving averages are bearish. But, the stock's undervalued. The earnings are rising. I like what I see here, though, overall. Chinese-made Rolexes are still affordable. Oh, man, I don't know. We'll see what the China deal is, but, Chinese Rolexes, 1,000% tariff. Hey, well, I guess even at 1,000% tariff, it's still a deal compared to a Rolex, right? Here's DFIN. Again, showed a little bit of weakness here. But potentially a buying opportunity, right? We've been talking about DFIN for a while. We've noticed every time it gets close to the 20-day moving average, usually a good buying opportunity. We're seeing that today, right? So if you want to pick up a couple shares of DFIN, that is on you. It's Friday afternoon. Probably want to be in a rush to do it. Maybe wait Monday, see if it was just a hiccup in that DEW, see if we get any kind of optimism. But you might have another good buying opportunity. Otherwise, if we get much more downward pressure, again, I'd be getting defensive. This stock was $30 not long ago. Now it's 60. You got a bag in 3 months, right? So again, protect your bags. Chinese-made Rolex are still affordable. My understanding is that VectorVest won't change it until the end of day, even in real time. Yes, correct. Because right now, like when you see the primary wave go down on the color guard during the day, it's not even confirmed yet, right? So these data points have to show us that at the close. So shortly after the close, once we go through the data, scrub the data this evening, you'll see a DEW down there, right? But if you're watching it and it looks like a DEW down, it doesn't look like we're going to get, I'd have to look at the chart here. But last time I looked at it, it didn't look like there was much of a possibility of, of that DEW remaining up. So again, do I miss Neo Chinese? No, I've got Neo in here. I wonder if my aunt still owns Neo. Man, my aunt, she got a Neo way before it was cool. It was like $4. This is like back during COVID. Jumped up, I think it was like 60. Man, she rode it all the way back down. I don't know what it's doing now. I told her not to, but So I say, have a plan in place for a stock. Have some kind of objective. Right? She had no exit strategy, right? She's just like, oh man, I'm making money. Well, you don't make money till you close out of the trade, right? The money ain't locked in till you're back in the cash. So just keep that in mind. Here we've got Viva Systems here, lower left, upper right, big gap up there. It's just in its channel. Yeah, I don't remember who gave me this stock, but it's still on the channel. Right now the bearish moving averages are in a bearish, but I'm not gonna be too responsive until we get some kind of breakout on either side of the channel here. And that channel looks like it goes from about 290 to about 275. Your aunt and Amir have a lot in common. Oh, you 12 shots fired. Is Amir here to defend himself? Amir, are you still here? I wonder if he's here on a Friday. I'm scrolling back up. No, I don't. Yeah. Actually, I don't see him in the comment section. Now I think about it. Amir, are you in here today? Look, they're already taking shots at you, bud. Like, he ain't here to defend himself. Mark Minervin says you have to sell and take profits because you won't have any profits to take. And that's a fact. That is a fact. You got to sell when you have profits, right? If you don't sell when you have profits, that means you're either selling at neutral, break even, or selling at a loss, right? And you ever notice when you're up in a position and you're like, man, I'm up 40, 50, 60% rock and rolling, it starts to come back, and then you second guess yourself. Well, I was just up 60%. Now I'm only up 40%. Should I just keep holding it? Have a plan in place, put some kind of stop in there, trailing stop, something to help capture that momentum. I can't tell you exactly what to do, but just, have some kind of plan in place, right? Going in and just buying stocks all willy-nilly on the tariff dip, yeah. You could throw a dart at the board over the last 3 months. Most likely you would have made money, right? Keeping the money, that's the important part. That's the important part, right? Just because you picked a couple winners over these last 3 months, trust me, it wasn't that hard. The whole market rallied, right? For the most part. But keeping the profits, definitely do that. Here's Micron. I've been bearish on Micron for a while now. I don't have my VectorVest 7 layout here. I'm on the mobile app. It broke through my level support, which is right around actually where this level support is showing up. And it broke through the 20-day. I'm still going to be bearish on Micron. It has not changed at all. Dr. Paul used to say, we are trading for targets. We are trading to make money. Yes. Yeah, some people I feel like just trade to have something to do and, maybe for some stimuli. I don't need no more stimuli. I just want the money, Chris. I just want the money. Ryan, sorry, Mark Minervin. His reading books are excellent. Same with. I'm gonna take a screenshot of that, John. I need some good reading material, and I prefer nonfiction. So if these are investment books, that probably work out. All right, I took a screenshot of that, John. Thank you for that. Man, I miss Dr. Oh, man, Dr. Paul, man. Dr. Paul, Dr. D, Jim Penna. I'm saying a blessing for all of them right now. These guys, man, we got so fortunate to be a part of this community and learn from some of the greats. And if you haven't noticed, you can just go on YouTube and, just type in Dr. David Paul, type in Dr. Toledo, Jim Penna. If you want some of their guidance, if you didn't really get the pleasure to learning from them, man, these are great individuals. And one thing I liked about Dr. David Paul, where he said, I don't know if you guys remember this, he said, you'd be surprised how often it works better, something along these lines, if you put your entry prices where your stop is, right? You'd be surprised how many times when you would have bought that stock, it comes down and hits your stop price, right? So he said, why not just put your entry price where your stop is? That way you got a little buffer zone. Man, that alone thought me, man, trust me, you got to play chess out here, not checkers. That's the problem. A lot of people playing checkers when they need to be playing chess out here. All right. Micron, get defensive. That's all I'm going to say about Micron. DHI, it's still lower left, upper right. Update a day. Nice body on the candlestick here. Values on the rise. It's overvalued, but values on the rise. Glenn, what is your best short idea? We'll have to ask Glenn sometime. The market looks like the Detroit Lions play last night. Stop. I'm going to pin that one. The market looks like the Detroit Lions play last night. Oh, God. Oh, man, that's hilarious. You guys are great. But, yeah, DH Horton, I'm still liking it. Just the stock's overvalued and the earnings are dropping, right? So if you are an investor of this position, hey, if it breaks this trend line, if it breaks the 20-day moving average, maybe reconsider it. But right now, it is overvalued. and the earnings are dropping. Let's see here. We got ASPN. This was greatly undervalued, but value is just dropping. I don't like that at all. In the stock, okay, this is it right here. It's a nice retest. This is the line right here. As long as we can stay above this, which looks about what, about 7.10 cents. I'd be optimistic. But I do see the crossover there, so be careful. You know, if we see any more downside action come Monday or even into Tuesday, I'd be getting defensive. I'm almost there right now. The only thing that's preventing me from saying, you know, get a little bit more defensive is just we found a level support right at the 20-day moving average, and there's a level support there. We got a bottom wick. That's a nice, strong level support. I'm willing to risk it and see if the bulls can pull it off here. Which layout works best today on the VectorVest composite? Ooh, are you just talking about the VectorVest composite, Marcus? Because if you're talking about just the VVC, I would say look at the DEW layout. DEW. That's the layout I'm looking at right now. That's the one you should have on your radar. Gregory Hines was outstanding. Yes, count the money. Here's Joby Aviation. You know, ever since this parabolic move, kind of moving to this channel here, I might be optimistic. I think we could break out of this. Think about it. The market pulled back. The stock's up today. If I was a betting man, I'm thinking it might break above that. Earnings per share, even though it's negative, hey, it's rising, right? Could be a turnaround story. The stock's overvalued. So what that tells me, with negative earnings, stock's overvalued, I'm not going to let this stock become emotional. If it drops much below that 8-day, I'd get, maybe take some off the table. If it drops below the 20-day, I'd probably close it out altogether. That 20-day is still at 15. I mean, the stock was less than $10 not long ago. Again, a lot of these stocks are up quite a bit. And I don't want hear a bunch of sad people next week or the next few weeks. Well, I was up this much, but I'm not out so much anymore. So just be careful, right? Protect profits. Again, it's just you'll go through your portfolio case by case basis, right? And just ask yourself, what was your initial objectives? Have those objectives been met? Are you close to those objectives? And if you are real close to those objectives, is it worth just calling it quit early, right? Ryan, if you've not seen History of the World by Mel Brooks, you need to watch it. It's the time you do a multi-bagger. What do you mean by that, Alfredo? Is it the time you do a multi-bagger? I gave you guys a multi-bagger last week. Neg. Went from like $20 when I first started talking about it. Now I think it's around like 60 or something. Ryan, have you seen the movie Stripes? John Candy was great in that. Actually, I have seen that. That was a good movie. That was a really good movie. But yeah, Joby, I'm kind of optimistic in this. But again, not the best fundamentals. So just make sure you stay disciplined with whatever technicals you got there. Palantir, and then look, it's just finding a nice level of support. Nice entry zone on Palantir. Bottom wick, right at the 20-day moving average. So if you buy the dip, again, right at that 20-day average, 20-day, just make sure you stay disciplined, right? Hey, if the stock rolls over and breaks it by much, you just get out of it, right? Otherwise, you just got in at another great opportunity and just keep riding it up. Oh, what's the chart for Neg today? I'll take a look at Neg. I actually wish I would have done it again on my contest portfolio. I was thinking about doing it. It was around $45 the other day, and it shot up to 70. That's all right. I made some money on AMD this week. Doing some options there. But again, another stock just way overvalued, negative earnings, right? We do have a fresh moving average crossover. And look at the bottom wick on that 8-day. That is great to see right there. That's actually really good. I do like that bottom wick on the 8-day. As long as price action stays above the 8-day moving average here, I'm going to ride that sucker to the upside. I'm not going to overthink it much. We can go enjoy a nice pina colada in the pool while the stock goes up. Here's another one. Not as much upside momentum, but look at the value. Undervalued. Neg is down 15%. Okay, well, I'm glad. Yeah, it's a short squeeze candidate. So it's all over the place. And I'm almost positive we're more towards the end of the short squeeze right now. So, I'm not saying jumping it today by any means. There was just an opportunity, I think it was Tuesday, that I saw with Neg. You got to stick to the technicals. But what is your best short idea? I would overvalued stocks, negative earnings. I would just look for weak fundamental companies that are well overextended, whether from one of our proprietary indicators or just well overextended in general. And they have Unisearch, a folder, an entire folder for short ideas, Akshaya. There's all kinds of different strategies, different ideas that you could choose from. But I'll be honest, I am much better at bullish trades than I am bearish. I just feel more comfortable with them. Honestly, I don't ever short stocks because I just play options. I don't think I've never shorted a stock just because I play options. I've never needed to. But yeah, I would go to Unisearch. There is a folder for short ideas, and I think that'll get the wheels a turning, Akshay, and point you in the right direction, to be honest. But AMTM, this just looks good. Rising earnings, undervalued, everything else here. Ripman, Ryan, on a separate note, is there any update on the beta version? I have to get an update. I know they're aiming soon. If I had to guess, before the holidays, but I'm not sure, and I'm not gonna, put out something. I'll try to get an update on the beta version, but if I had to guess, probably before the holidays. If everything works out well. Here's MTG. Look at, hey, this is actually a fresh crossover here. We got rising earnings, valuation, undervalued, nice level support here. You're not buying at a top, you're buying at a dip, but we just got fresh crossovers on the 3, 8, and 20. This is MTG. This might be a good bullish candidate. Again, it's Friday, and again, the market's down. So if I am going to be bullish on it, it's got to be working today, and this one seems to be working here. Only the confused play shorts due to the fear of tariffs. Yeah, I'm not saying I wouldn't short the market because of the tariffs. I'd short the market based on what the graph is telling me. That's what I say. Quick question. What do you make of Amazon EPS dropping 98% from last year? Yeah, Amazon's down quite a bit. My mom's still holding Amazon right now. I got her in a pretty large position of Amazon, but she's got a cushion. I got her in about $110, $115 a while back. I didn't really read the breakdown of Amazon. Was it their cloud business? What was going on with their cloud business, Fox? Did you get a chance to look at that? Let's see here. RSP, because their cloud business is what I was concerned about the most. RSP has a DEW down on my trade station screen. Huh? Trade station screen. SMCI, yeah, we're going to get there. So here's Novo Nordisk, the gap down. No, I'm not going to get into it. I mean, look at UNH. That didn't work out too well. Here's Novo Nordisk. No, I'm not going to get into it at all. Let's go to a year chart. Let's see where I can see if I... No. Oh, God. Even before the gap down, it was down. Just down and down and down and down and down. Let's go to 5-year. Holy moly. I don't know. You think now's the bottom? I don't know. I'm just not worth the risk to me. That seems like a headache, this Novo Nordisk. I'm skipping it. Hopefully you do too on your portfolio. That seems like a headache. Here we got BP Body Energy. Interesting. Earnings taking a little bit of a dip. Price action. Kind of retested this here. I like it, but I want to take out yesterday's upper wick. It was 818. Now it's at 16. It's struggling to stay above that 20-day moving average. So just be careful. It's just struggling. Gold, I added this one. A whole lot of nothing. It's in a channel. This is the bottom end of the channel, so this would have been the best opportunity to buy, obviously, somewhere at the bottom of the channel. We're still about midway through the channel here, up to the top, about a bit less than halfway. At 2019, yeah, Fernando, that's what I'm saying. I'm glad I went back on that chart. No. I'm going to put it in the UNH category. No, horrible. At least, let it break something like a downward trend line or something. I think I even did that with SMCI after its sell-off. I had to wait for some kind of confirmation. Was God like at one point? Yeah, a lot of these big health companies are, but not. They're struggling right now. But as far as gold, it's still channeling. You know, I do see the pickup recently here. We'll see if there's any follow through. If there's really any kind of follow through on gold, it's going to be on the outside of this channel here. Right now it's about 308. We need to break, get to about 319, 320 would be good. What's your thoughts on NVO EPS growing for many years and why stock hammered down? I mean, I don't think the stock's down because of its earnings per share. Wasn't there some kind of... There was some other in the news when it comes to Novo Nordisk. Pikachu, any call on AMD? AMD, I will say I do like the retest of the channel. Earnings, God, it's so hard to guess stocks on earnings. I mean, you're literally guessing. If I had a call, though... As long as we don't go parabolic, which I doubt we will on Monday or Tuesday. I think. Wait, when's the earning? 5th? That's Tuesday. I think we'll gap up. Though my only concern is if say over the weekend or Monday, China comes out and says, "Oh, we found backdoors in Nvidia chips." Ooh, I'd re-strategize that. I'd re-strategize it. That's just me personally. Lilly, much better play. Yeah, I'd look for, undervalued healthcare stocks that are rising, right? Yeah, these stocks are undervalued, but they're going down. Why don't we just find undervalued stocks in healthcare that are rising, right? It just makes more sense. Someone put in AMDL. I mean, why AMD, not AMDL? What do you mean? They're the same thing. AMDL is just the ETF, the leverage ETF on it. So cues by HIMS. Actually, let's look at HIMS. That'd be the last stock. I'm curious because that's one I talk about quite a bit. HIMS, there we are. Oh, it is going down. Yeah, we got a big upper wick yesterday. Down 6% today. That looks like a shooting star with follow through today. So just be careful. Just be careful there. All right, was it 102? We got to roll. We've got Power Hour, 2 p.m. Clay, are we simulcasting on YouTube as well this week? Yes. All right. So yeah, so now it's gonna be on Fridays, not Wednesdays. Every other Friday, starting this week. Me and Clay will be back at 2 p.m. We're gonna be simulcasting both on YouTube and in the community room, right? And then if you do have access to VectorVest in the community room, you'll have it every Friday. So we're gonna reconvene here in about an hour. So think about a good stock. And honestly, the stocks you should bring are probably stocks that you're up in very much and you're thinking about selling or protecting profits. It's going to be kind of the theme of this afternoon's Power Hour, okay? All right, everybody. Enjoy. We will reconvene in just an hour. See you guys in a bit. Take care.